My friend Tyler graduated from New York University in 2012 with a degree in communications and $87,000 in student debt. He did everything he was supposed to do. Got good grades, joined clubs, built his resume, graduated on time. 14 years later, he's an office manager making $54,000 a year. It's a job that didn't require a degree. His loan balance, still $71,000 because of interest. He'll be paying until he's 55 years old. Last month, over drinks, he told me something I'll never forget. If I could go back, I wouldn't go to college. I'd learn a trade, start working at 18, and I'd be better off in every single way. College was the most expensive mistake of my life. Tyler isn't alone. There's an entire generation of people who did exactly what they were told. Went to college, got the degree, played by the rules, and they're living with the crushing realization that it was all a lie. Let's break down the psychology of people who wish they'd never gone to college. Let's start with what you were told. From elementary school through high school, the message was relentless. Go to college, get a degree. It wasn't presented as one option among many. It was presented as the only path to success. Guidance counselors said it. Parents said it. Teachers said it. Society screamed it. You need college to get a good job, so they believed it. They borrowed tens of thousands of dollars because they trusted the equation. College equals career equals financial stability. That wasn't stupidity. That was faith in a system that claimed to have their best interests in mind. Psychologists call this institutional trust, the belief that established systems, education, government, and corporations are fundamentally looking out for you. But by the time they graduated, the game had changed. The jobs that required degrees didn't exist in the numbers promised. The salaries didn't match the debt load. The good life they were promised was a lie, and now they're stuck. A study from the Federal Reserve found that 43% of recent college graduates are underemployed in jobs that don't require a degree. And for many of them, that underemployment becomes permanent. They're working jobs they could have gotten straight out of high school, except now they're doing it with crushing debt and 10 years of their life gone. Not everyone who regrets college regrets it for the same reason. There are 5 distinct psychological profiles. Type 1. The debt crushed. They got the degree. They even got a job in their field, but the salary doesn't match the debt. They're making $45,000 a year with $80,000 in loans. The math doesn't work. Every month, student loan payments eat a massive chunk of their income. They can't buy a house, can't save for retirement, can't afford to have kids. This is financial suffocation. The degree didn't open doors. It locked them in a cage of permanent debt. Type 2. The wrong major. They picked a major because it sounded interesting or because someone told them to follow their passion. Now they're working retail or admin jobs unrelated to their degree, still paying for an education they're not using. Type 3. The overqualified and underemployed. They did everything right. Good school, good grades, internships. But when they graduated, the jobs weren't there. So they took whatever they could get. Now they're trapped in positions where their degree is irrelevant and their skills are wasted. Psychologists call this identity role mismatch. They spent years building an identity as a professional, but the world treats them like they're disposable. Type 4. The late bloomer. They went to college because it was expected, not because they knew what they wanted. They drifted through for years, racked up debt, and graduated with no clear direction. Now, in their 30s or 40s, they've finally figured out what they actually want to do, and it has nothing to do with their degree. This is delayed self-awareness. College didn't help them find themselves. It just delayed the process and cost them a fortune. Type 5. The entrepreneur who didn't need it. They're self-employed now, and they realize none of it required a degree. They could have started this at 18, built their business for 10 years instead of sitting in lecture halls. The degree was a detour that cost them time, money, and momentum. This is opportunity cost regret. It's not just what college cost them, it's what they could have built instead. Tyler, my friend from the beginning. He's type 1. Debt crushed, good job, decent salary. The loans never end. And every year, he watches his high school friends who skipped college. Plumbers, electricians, buying houses, taking vacations, and living freely, while he's trapped. So what happens psychologically when you realize college was a mistake? 1. Shame becomes constant. You can't admit it out loud because it sounds like you're blaming the system for your failure, so you internalize it. You tell yourself you should have chosen a better major, should have worked harder, should have networked more. This is internalized failure. You blame yourself for a system that was rigged against you. 2. Resentment builds toward everyone who pushed you into it. Your parents who insisted, the guidance counselors who promised, the system that lied. This is betrayal-induced anger. You trusted them. They were wrong. And now you're paying for their advice. 3. You feel trapped in the timeline. You can't get those years back, can't undo the debt. The damage is permanent. Psychologists call this temporal regret. It's not just that you wish you'd made a different choice, that you can't go back and fix it. You're locked into the consequences forever. 4. You stop trusting institutional advice. If college was a lie, what else were you lied to about? This creates systemic skepticism. You question everything now. Retirement advice, career paths, financial planning. Because if the biggest decision of your life was based on a lie, why would anything else be true? A study from the Journal of Economic Psychology found that adults carrying student debt they perceive as wasted report significantly higher rates of depression, anxiety, and what's called life dissatisfaction. It's not just financial stress, it's existential regret. The feeling that you were robbed of the life you could have had. Here's the question that haunts people who regret college. What could I have done instead? They run the numbers constantly. If I'd started working at 18, if I'd learned a trade, if I'd started a business, if I'd invested the tuition money, where would I be now? And the answer is almost always better off. Not because college has no value, but because for them, the cost vastly outweighed the benefit. A plumber who started at 18 is now 35 with a paid-off house and a thriving business. Meanwhile, the college graduate is 35 with $60,000 in debt and a job that doesn't require the degree they're still paying for. This isn't a hypothetical. This is the math people do in their heads every single day, and it's crushing. If you regret going to college, here's what you need to know. You're not broken. You're not a failure. You were lied to by a system that profited off your trust. The degree doesn't define you. The debt doesn't own you forever. You can rebuild. You can pivot. You can create a life that works even if college didn't. But first, you have to stop blaming yourself for trusting a system that was designed to exploit you. Subscribe to Money Archetype for more psychology behind the systems that shaped your financial reality. You didn't fail college. College failed you.